of how to help those who've gotten out of jail get back into society.
You know, Pastor, when we talk about the criminal justice system in the state of Tennessee, I think we've talked about that on many occasions, but if you had to say one of the most important things that you would do if you had an opportunity to change the system, what would that be?
When you say you use the number one.
Well, and so the number of things that you would do. Very
absolutely.
Good.
And so many things that could be changed, you know. For one thing, the signal that's beamed from the prison system needs to be changed, you know. And what I mean by that is we follow the individual from the crime scene through the judicial system all the way to the walls or the gates of the prison system. And from there, we don't have any more knowledge or information concerning that individual. And at the same time, a lot of these guys are in prison. They're developing themselves while they're in prison, you know, and they deserve a chance to get out and to use some of the skills and things that they've developed and some of the knowledge that they've gained and the enhancements of their own personal lives, personally rehabilitating themselves, and then give them opportunity to come out and make a difference in society and be productive members of society, you know. So that's just, you know, one of the things, you know, that I would change. There's so many other things that needs to be changed concerning the criminal justice system that that list goes on and on and on.
Okay, and so what we'll do, we'll stop for our first commercial break here, and then we'll come back and we'll start with Representative Love, and we'll let him deal with it from his perspective, and then we'll have an opportunity to sort of move this on. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. And then push it over to him, and then he'll take up the rest of the time. But in a real sense, you know, take about 4 or 5 minutes to go on and talk about whatever you wish to talk about dealing with the criminal justice system, some of your activities or some of the things that you think are right or wrong or whatever, and et cetera, just from that perspective.
All right.
And I'll introduce the show, and we'll have 8 minutes, and then after that 8 minutes, we'll have 10 minutes. But I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes of that, and then he'll take up he'll sort of feed off your information, and then he'll end that second segment for us, and then we'll come back and we'll sort of divide the 10 minutes between the two of you.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds great.
That was a terrible thing, but in Orlando,
it was really.
I tell you,
just catching it. Then the little boy.
Just something. Oh my!
Snatched by
All these children. I mean, one getting eaten up by a gorilla, and then one by an alligator. Oh man!
I'm so overprotective of my little grandkids, man.
I tell you,
won't believe it, man. I'm like, they can't walk. Yeah, they can't even walk behind me in the store, man. You got to be in my side.
You can't let that happen.
Yeah,
because they get snatched up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, I'm like, well, I gotta see them at all times.
Thank you, and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Pastor K. Walker and Representative Love, and the topic is the criminal justice system in Tennessee. Representative Love, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity to talk about the criminal justice system in Tennessee, whether from the your position as a representative in the Tennessee legislature or from your own personal information and et cetera. Let's talk about it from that perspective.
I think much of what Pastor Walker said is true. We do a poor job of encouraging persons to pursue a career after they have spent their time in jail. Prime example is we don't provide as many educational opportunities as we do. That's why I'm grateful to say that this past legislative session, I was able to get $250,000 reoccurring in the state budget for a program called the Higher Education Initiative that specifically provides free college courses in certain prisons in Tennessee. Wow. What that does is it allows a person who meets certain requirements of behavior and sentencing to take classes for free while in prison, in the hopes that when they get out of prison, they can continue to take some classes and then get their college degree and then pursue opportunity to get back into society in a good way. We have to keep encouraging persons who have been incarcerated to do well once they get out. And the best way we can do that is to say, if while you're in prison you want to better yourself educationally, here's an opportunity for you to take these classes in the hopes, again, that when you get out, you can continue your education and then graduate and then get you a job, right, that meets your skill set you developed in the classroom in prison.
And I think that that's a program that, in a real sense, that should go a long way. Should it not, Pastor, in terms of doing things?
Absolutely. I recall when I was incarcerated, I was able to take college courses from Trevecca East Campus Prison Program, and at the same time, I was also able to use my GI Bill. And I was able to get a Pell Grant and all that kind of stuff like that. Use my GI Bill and everything, and that means I was able to take college courses and also receive money from the government, from the VA, which I earned by being in the military service, honorably discharged and everything from the United States Navy. And like I say, our good old President Ronald Reagan, he did something back there, and those programs ceased to exist within the system. But to hear Representative Love speak concerning, passing legislation to get those things going with the monies, recurring monies coming in to do that, that's awesome. That's wonderful, because it's a lot of guys in there, Dr. Haney, that will avail themselves to that, because it's a wonderful thing, and they're looking for stuff like that, because there's not a whole lot of rehabilitation that goes on in the prison system that's provided by the state. So to have something like this in place, that's awesome. But before we get too far in the show, I need to say this concerning Representative Love. I